this is Chris McDonald, and I'm coming to you from Kannapolis, North Carolina. Kannapolis is just a little bit north of Charlotte, North Carolina. We're kind of close to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. They've changed that since then. What I want to do today is I'm going to be having a blogging class that's going to go over where you can blog. I'll go into a lot of detail about three of the platforms. One's going to be WordPress.com, WordPress.org, and Blogger. And then there's going to be a handout that you can get that will go over 5 different platforms. I started working after my bout with cancer, I started working with an MLM. I enjoyed it, but once we started to add social media to the mix, I felt an overwhelming sense of like being in a fog. And there seemed to be so much information. I didn't know what to do or where to go, or just when I thought that I learned something, there was an update and I had to remember that. And I didn't want any other business owners to have to go through that and try to learn everything and feel like they were in a haze or a fog. So that's what made me decide to go ahead and start working instead with just social media. So what I want to do today is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and we will go ahead and get started because I like to keep these around 30 minutes. Just a minute. And I believe we have it. Okay, so today's class is going to be, like I said, today we're going to be going over where you can blog, and we'll be covering WordPress and Blogger. And I'll also tell you how you can go about getting started. Now, where you can blog, there's a lot of different platforms. Today's handout covers 5, as well as features of some of these different places. So that'll give you a good start on getting some information. But there's really some things that are going to be key. There's important factors as to which blogs or which platforms it is that you want to do. One is going to be your ideal customer. If you're using art and photography, then Tumblr is definitely going to be a much better platform for you to go on. Of course, you could use WordPress or Blogger, but Tumblr is designed more for photography and for artists. So you want to know who your ideal customer is. And if you don't have that information, please contact me on my blog or on my website or below this recording, and I'll be sure to go ahead and give you some information about an ideal customer, and I'll even help you determine that. So the next thing is going to be, do you want to own your blog or not? Just like social media, you don't own some of the blogs that you would be working on. So that means that you're going to be confined with what their rules and their regulations are. Well, it's going to be the same thing with a blog. If you own your own blog, then you can put what you want. But if you don't, then you'll have to abide by their rules and guidelines. Personally, what I've decided to do is go ahead and go with owning my own blog, and I do that, of course, with WordPress. Now, with WordPress, you can't start blogging without hearing somebody talk about WordPress. You know, you say, I started a blog. Oh, are you on WordPress? I heard it so many times, and I chose not to go with WordPress for the beginning. There are 2 sides, for lack of a better word, to WordPress. The one side is going to be WordPress.com. Now, WordPress.com isn't going to be a platform that you own. You can create your blog for free. You can create a domain name, but you're going to have to pay for that domain name. It can come from many different sources. It's going to be totally up to you. But if you're on WordPress.com, they'll give you that option of going ahead and choosing that domain name directly from them. You'll have to pay for a lot of the additional features, some of the plugins. You will get some free themes, but a lot of them you're going to have to pay for. And of course, there will be restrictions. You can go with a hosted service. At WordPress.com, at WordPress.com, it is a hosted service. You don't have to find a website host. You don't have to install software. But like I said, there are limitations. And if they don't like what you put up, and it doesn't meet their guidelines, you could lose your blog. Now, WordPress.org is used by 22% of the web. Now, that might seem like a small figure whenever you hear that, but in actuality, there are over 60 billion people that are using WordPress.org. The software is made up by a community-driven project. People create the different types of software for it, and then they give it. And then you can choose to go ahead and download a software or a theme or a plugin or a widget. You can go ahead and download those, and they'll ask if you'd like to contribute because the workers are volunteers. There's very supportive forums, and you can host your own blog. Because you're branding yourself, you want to stick to the same name that's on your blog. If you're using for your website, for your Facebook, if you're using Sally Smith, you want to make sure that Sally Smith is going to be what you want to use on your blog. So keep those names the same, and it makes it easier for people to find you. Don't go with something that's easy to remember. Don't be using numbers or single letters. All the time you'll see people using Sally Smith 1 or Sally Smith 2. It's hard for people to remember you by that. So you want to try and choose something that isn't going to have those numbers, or in my case, like my Twitter handle, I have 1, 2 and the number 2, help you, the letter U, today. That doesn't really work very well. So you want to try and do something that's going to have your name incorporated into it so that they can know and find you. And of course, you also want to make sure that you're not using those numbers or letters. That's why when I chose my domain for my actual website and blog, I went with Chris McDonald NC. I had heard other people doing the same thing, not my name, but their names with their cities or their states. So that I felt like that was a better way for me to go. In my case, trying to get the domain name Chris McDonald was going to be a bit difficult because there's actually an actor called Chris McDonald. So it's going to be very hard for my name to rank 1 on a Google page, because everything on that Google page, if I just put in my name, is going to be about that actor first. With WordPress.org, although the software is free, the hosting is not. You'll have to pay for your hosting, and you can use different companies. You can use GoDaddy, Gator, Bluehost, and there's a wealth of other hosting companies out there. Just make sure that you check the reviews, find out which hosting company is going to be the best, which one is going to best meet your needs. You might find prices that are cheap, and they seem cheap, but remember, there's always the old adage, you get what you pay for. Sometimes you can get a really good bargain, but are you really getting a bargain? You know, I did a lot of research on the domain names and which hosting it was that I wanted to go to. Once, of course, again, still feeling like starting that was all part of that fog that I had to go through and learn. For me, I chose Bluehost because that was what I liked the best. When I read the reviews, whenever I read and searched to see who the people were that were using Bluehost, I was pleased with what I was seeing. I checked their sites to see how responsive they were. And responsive means how well they react and how well they work with mobile. And I learned that it's themes. If you're using WordPress, it's themes that's going to determine whether or not your website is going to be mobile ready. So you want to choose a theme that says that it's responsive. If it says it's responsive, then you can put it on mobile and it's going to look the same as it does on your laptop. So all of those things are going to be important factors for you to try and determine. Domain names will cost you about $10 a year. Once again, you could go with things like online with or marketing with. A wonderful friend of mine said, that's really too long. People might forget that, so not to go with that. You can just see if your name is available as a domain. Like I said before, I chose Bluehost. I have had no problems with it. And I also get extra perks. You can click on the side or the bottom of my website, which is chrismcdonaldnc.com, and you'll be able to see a link where you can connect with them directly. I will be honest with you, that is an affiliate link, which means that if you do click on it, I will receive a small part of the money that you're going to be paying, but it's a very small part compared to what WordPress.org is going to be receiving. And it's not really that expensive, $3.95 a year, but you get free things with it. You'll get Google AdSense dollars that you can use. as well as Yahoo, and I received an offer for some Facebook ads. You have a choice of your domain. Remember, don't use the name of your multi-level marketing unless they're providing you with their website. Now, I have seen like websites that say, I can't think of one offhand, I'm sorry, but I have seen websites that are like, let's say, Avon, that were provided by that particular company. Well, of course, you can't change the name of the company because they're providing you with that website. But if you're an independent business owner, unless you're receiving 100% of the profits, then there might be rules and regulations that you might know about. A company that I was with was Ameriplan. Absolutely love the company, but their rules do state that you can't use their name. Their name is copyrighted. So you want to be careful what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it, what name you're choosing, which is another reason why people often say to go ahead and just use your name and brand yourself. There will be a link, like I said, to Bluehost on this page. It'll be on your right-hand side underneath the Facebook box and at the very bottom, and it'll say Bluehost. These are some of the organizations that use .org, bluepress.org. As you can see, we have a really big list. These are just some of them. These were the top few that I went ahead and pulled. I Google searched by top users of WordPress.org. The big one to me was eBay. That is a great site, and it always works well. I've never had any problems. I'm so sorry, I have hiccups. I've never had any problems with eBay. There's GM, Forbes, Best Buy, PlayStation, CNN, UPS, Sony, Xerox, and on. So this is how I use it. My original plan was to go ahead and learn code. I was going to learn HTML, and then I was going to set up my website, and then I was going to set up websites for other people. What happened was I learned about WordPress.org, and it almost seemed senseless for me to go ahead and go through that trouble. Now, I will admit I've learned a little bit of code, but my learning of code consists of how to put it onto my website or how to slightly change it. Now, on my website, I'm able to host my own training classes, blog products, and services. I didn't choose a simple theme. My reason for not choosing a simple theme was just as simple as I wanted to portray a message. One of the pictures that you'll see on my homepage is a fog, and it talks about are you in a fog and you're not real sure where to go, and then I talk about living the life that you want to live, and there's a picture, and the pictures just keep changing. They call that a static page. But I have those pictures changing because there's a message in that I wanted to make sure that I was able to portray. So I tried to go with something that would portray that message, and then adjusted my learning to meet that product that I decided I wanted to use. If you are watching today's training on my blog, then you'll know that maybe the other training was found on my Facebook page. And I chose, because I sit there and talk to all of you and tell you repeatedly that you don't own your social media sites, that what was I putting my blog on my Facebook page if I didn't own that? And that's part of why I went ahead and put it over onto the to my website. So just so that you can see, I went ahead and I put my trainings from the Facebook trainings, and there's more if you go down the page. But you see, here's the Facebook video training one. You click on it, and it's going to bring up that training. And here is the information for that first handout. So all the trainings and all of the handouts are located here. They'll redirect you to the right place. For the video training, it'll redirect you, and you'll be able to watch that training. Here's the same thing with the Twitter trainings. And then here's what the blog looks like. Over on this side is the blog about the tweets. So you see, I'm able to do all of those on the same website. Now, if you choose to go with WordPress.com, that's the one that you get for free, you can just go ahead and Google it, and you'll see here's WordPress.com, and then you'll go to the sign up page, Once you do that, this is going to be what it looks like. You just go ahead and fill in that information, put what address you want your blog address to be, and then you click on this WordPress.com free. Once you've chosen your domain name and your hosting, and you've done the one button install, it's going to be time. I'm so sorry. This is on WordPress.com and WordPress.org. Once you've chosen your domain name and if you're going to have hosting, you can usually get the install that's going to be done with one click. Now, for the WordPress.com, you'll go ahead and sign up for it, and then you'll go ahead and choose your theme. And it's pretty much the same thing on WordPress.org. You'll sign up for your hosting and your domain name. If you need to transfer it, you'll go ahead and get it transferred to WordPress, to wherever your hosting is. For example, you can go to GoDaddy and you can get your name from them, and you can also have them as your hosting. Like I said, I just chose Bluehost. That was my choice. I like the free themes. You can get some of the advanced if you were interested. Some people say that they're fantastic, and some say that they're not advanced. Personally, I felt like mine was pretty complicated compared to some of the other ones, and I was very pleased with the theme that I chose. But you'll find if you're on WordPress.org, you're going to see thousands of themes that'll be available to you. Now, if after looking through the thousands of free themes and you're using WordPress.org, the one that you pay for with the hosting, if you can't find it, you can go to places to get the premium ones. That is going to be Elegant Themes, Woo Themes, and ThemeForest. I went ahead and put in, when I was researching, I put in top themes, and Elegant Themes came up as having a lot of the different themes, and they even did a blog on what's available for free and whether or not those themes were good. The theme that I am using, which was free, was actually from Elegant Themes. So I don't know about the other two companies. I'm just giving you information on what I do know. Now, WordPress.com, the free blog site, they do offer different plans and upgrades. For example, they'll give you the basic free blog, which will end with WordPress.com. Example, it would look like Chris McDonald NC /WordPress.com. Now, no premium themes are going to be included. You won't be able to do e-commerce. There will not be any storage of videos, and you'll have 3 gigabytes of space. They may or may not allow you to show your ads, and a lot of that's going to be dependent on whether or not you're cloaking them or hiding them within the website. Personally, that wasn't something that I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to have commerce. I also knew that I was going to be wanting to put videos on there. So that's why that was just not an option for me at all. Now, some of the upgrades on the free account is you can pay $99 and you get the blog, a domain name, you get advanced customization. Once again, no premium themes are included, no e-commerce, 13 gigabytes of space, and no ads. I'm thinking that means that it's no ads from WordPress.com. And then there is a business one that's going to be $299 a year. You have you can have a custom domain, advanced customization, 50 plus premium themes. You can have e-commerce, and you can have unlimited video space, no ads, and live chat support. Now, once again, if you're going to be paying that much as a business, go ahead and look into the WordPress.org and compare those prices, because I think that you're going to find out that if you're going to be spending that much money, you may as well own your blog. Also remember that once you go from owning that blog to having it for free to wanting to own it, you are going to pay to have that transferred. Of course, you can transfer it from the free blog to the You Own It blog. You can do that yourself, but it's going to mean some time. But it's not just a quick and easy transfer. Here's a little chart that does a little bit of comparison between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. You could go ahead and take a look at that. I think that you'll be surprised. This one is going to be the free one, and this is talking about the domain year. My domain was free. Whenever I got it, it was included. This says $7 a month. I'm not paying that. I'm paying $3.95. And of course, no ads and unlimited storage space. And then they list the price here on what you're going to pay for anything over 3 gigabytes. Whenever I showed you that original, let me go back to it. My slides are in the wrong order. When you go right here and you're trying to fill out that .com thing, information, when I clicked on WordPress.com free, it didn't allow me to go ahead and see. When I saw the different prices, but it wouldn't let me capture that screen. So I went ahead and took a picture of it. So this is what you're going to pay for a .biz, there's the price, and for .com they're going to pay $18 a year, and so on. And those are all on the free account. So if instead of having WordPress.com, you can have .com, but you're going to pay $18 a year in order to have that. My handout is going to include some simple comparison charts that will also help you with your decision whether you want to go with WordPress.org or with WordPress.com. That's, like I said, that's included on that handout. Make sure that you sign up for that. What a lot of people do is they start with the free blog. Then they decide to go with the $99 a year upgrade. But then after a while, they decide that they want to make some money with that blog and they want to start affiliate links and their own ads. So then they're going to pay for site redirects. And they're going to have to pay to have that blog transferred to the .org site. But if you're not ready to go with paying, I understand that for small businesses that's often very difficult to do, then go ahead and start with the free one. And there's a lot of other ones that are offered if you go into that handout. When you get right down to the nitty-gritty, a free basic WordPress.com plan is going to be your least expensive option, particularly if you don't want a custom domain name and you don't mind using their free themes without any type of modifications to them. What it really boils down to is control. With WordPress.org, you have full control, and with WordPress.com, you have limited control. So it's up to you. Do you want limitations, or are you willing to put up with them because you need it to be free? Now, don't misunderstand me. This is still a great place to go, to the WordPress.com. Just remember that these folks are running their own business and they're providing you with a ready-to-use platform. They maintain the software. You don't have to worry about security or code. But in return, you pay for those upgrades. I would be extremely negligent if I didn't tell you that you cannot use third-party advertising solutions such as Google AdSense on your free blog. You can't track your stats with the Google Analytics on the WordPress.com. So if you're thinking that you want to blog so that it's easier for you to be seen by the search engines such as Google, that's not going to happen with the .com site. You need to be using the .org so that you can have Google Analytics done. So if having control over your site is important, then you want to set up your own WordPress.org. If you don't want to have anything technical to do, you don't have the time, you don't want to worry about it, then maybe WordPress.com is your best solution. Or you can contact me. That is one of the services that I provide, not only setting that up for you, but also writing a blog is a service that I offer. Now, some people used to say that you want to use Blogger, which is free because it's Google. If you want to show up with search results and not worry about doing any work to ensure it, this might be a good choice, kind of similar to the WordPress.com. If you want to make sure that you're going to show up with Google, you're going to have to pay a little bit extra to ensure that that actually happens. So to do that, first you want to set up a Gmail account. That Gmail account is going to allow you to have the Blogger account as well as a Google Plus account and your YouTube account. Your address for Blogger blog will always end in blogspot.com. So what you want to do is go to your Google page, just like you're going to do a Google search. On the top right, you're going to see a box with a bunch of squares or dots. That's what you want to click. Once you click that, this is going to open. You'll see all these different icons. It'll take you to those places. If you don't see that orange box with the B, then click on more and it'll open up more. This is what happens whenever I go into my old Blogger account. I actually had two of them. I shut down one of them, and now this one is still open, just to kind of let people know that I've moved. So you'll see whenever you start, it's going to have your name here, and then you're going to be clicking on New Blog. Now, I started my Blogger account with my MLM back in March 2014. Look at the number of page views. The last time that I published something was December of 2014. And look at how many people came and viewed. Now, for some people, they'd be laughing because that's a very small number. To me, that's a pretty good number considering I wasn't really doing that much to advertise it or put out information. I didn't know about doing click to tweets or to be putting it on my social media platforms. So to get started, just like my grandson likes to say, it's easy peasy. You go to that where it says New Blog and you click on it. Up will come a box that looks like this. They want you to decide what the title of your blog is going to be and what your address is going to be. Now you'll have to play with that because other people may have chosen the title that you're going to choose. So you'll just have to play with it. You can add a custom domain at a later time. Then you want to choose what kind of template. Your address is going to be blogspot.com. Now this is what I had chosen for mine. And you can see that I had information on my blog with the home page, about Ameriplan. I always was putting out lots of information about scams, my credentials, frequently asked questions, and taxes, things you need to know. Those were the main topics that I chose to go into. You could go into any one of these and get more information, kind of like title sections, if that's a better word to try and come up with it. So when you get inside, you're going to see like this. Right here means that you're going to be starting a new blog. And this is going to allow you to view your posts. This is going to allow you to actually view the blog itself. Once you click on New Post, Compose is going to be fairly obvious. You don't want to do it in HTML. And this arrow is going to show you where you can go in to get a photo. You can go ahead and add a photo there. You can also use a hyperlink. Let's say that you want to link it to a different article or something else that's already on your blog. You can go ahead and put in a link. What you'll end up doing is you highlight it, you click the link, they ask you where you want it to go, and you click that and put it in there. These are posts that I haven't published. Here you can see before you move on, and there's nothing in orange here. So that means that I've published it and it gives a date that I published it. Here you can see articles that I have put in there or things that I have started working on. And I went with something that was older, but these were back in December of 2014. Notice that the orange words draft mean that I have not published those. So once I hit publish, then that would change. So a little trick that I did, once I created that Blogger account and I was using it, one of the things that I liked to do was if I would find an article that I found interesting, I would go ahead and copy and paste it, put it in there, and use it as a reference point for something that I wanted to write on my own in the future. Of course, I didn't do any type of plagiarism or anything. I just went ahead and used that as a sounding board or a spring to help me to come up with my own article. So that's what you see with these drafts that I didn't publish. And sometimes if I don't have an idea of something that I want to go ahead and write, then I know that that's something that I can fall back on to get some additional information to help me. That might be something that you'd be interested in. It might not. I also know that some people like to use Evernote. It does the exact same thing for you. You can copy an article and put it in your Evernote. Um, for me, Evernote, because I was already doing this, it meant that I had to transfer the info over, and Evernote it ended up starting to take a lot of room on my computer, so I didn't want to do that. I also use OneNote, so I have quite a few things that I have going on. So next week we're going to cover frequency, how often you want to blog, how to find topics, and some tips. Make sure that you get the handout. The handout is once again going to be on different platforms that you can use. I go over 5. I add an additional chart to let you compare .org and .com for WordPress. So go ahead and take a look at those. Don't forget to get that. If you have any questions, you can private message me on Facebook, or you can email me at chris@chrismcdonaldnc.com. Once again, that's chris@chrismcdonaldnc.com, and I'll get that email and be quick to answer you. I didn't make space. You could put a comment on my page, but I probably get back to you a little bit quicker if you use the email. If you have any questions, again, don't hesitate to ask. I look forward to seeing you next week, and have fun in all the research that you're going to be doing this week while you try and decide which one you want to get set up. Bye-bye for now. Have a blessed day.